Welcome. My name is Sharon Baker, and I'm so happy that you are joining us for worship, wherever you may be. We are an inclusive congregation that welcomes you as you are, inclusive of all your identities, complexities, and situations. We welcome your whole self, even if it isn't fully assembled, because we recognize that we are all a work in progress and that we are all in this together. Now please join me in our opening affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship. For this high purpose do we unite in worship. The chalice lighting this morning is by Scott Taylor, Reverend Scott Taylor. We light this chalice in honor of first steps, for beginning even when the path ahead is unclear, for the courage it takes to trust that the way will reveal itself, that light will come to clarify our vision, and that friends will be at our side. May the words, song, stillness, and common breath of this hour remind us that at every step of the way is never one we take alone.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. To live a life of meaning seems to me the most important aspiration that we can pursue. I was born in Birmingham, Alabama, 1972, just 9 years after the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing. That context was important for my life. I am a scholar of African American culture and history. I work on music, I work on literature. I'm also a legal historian. Racial inequality became embedded in American law. It's both a tool for creating inequality, but it also has had this use to open up doors of opportunity and to push back against inequality. Black Studies is a field that emerges from student protest and higher education. And so it always has had this direct relationship between the classroom and what students are insisting upon and the larger society. I do like to maintain a sense of that origin. I think about the relationship between the faculty member and the student as a dynamic relationship. It's not just a top-down one, it's one in which they're constantly teaching us, they're pushing us, they're making us reflect on our work. If there were one impact I'd like my work to have, it would be that people would cease talking about African American history and culture in terms of deprivation or inadequacy, and actually acknowledge its depth and complexity and beauty. My work in music has ranged from hip-hop to formal musical compositions by African American composers. Hip-hop is absolutely a form that comes about in the post-civil rights movement, post-industrial urban centers, but it also has elements of resistance and transformation and fighting against various forms of inequality. It's a complex form. It's a reflection of the society in which we live. It's a useful document of the world. My most recent book is titled Breathe, a Letter to My Sons. It is 3 essays in the form of a letter to them in which I acknowledge the particular difficulties and fears that go along with coming of age as a Black person in the United States currently, but also is focused on giving them the resources from a long and extraordinary tradition of resistance, of beauty and excellence in the face of that. When someone Google searches my name in 10 years, I hope that people have read and digested my work. I hope that people attach me to this extraordinary group of young people who I have taught over my professional career. And I also do hope that there's some way that the story of my life will be framed in large part around my commitment to justice. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
This congregation has a mission. Please join me in saying our mission. Our spiritual community lives courage, nurtures wonder, inspires justice, and includes all.
At this time in our service, we recognize the joys and concerns of the community. This is a candle of gratitude for those who worked to create our new patio space. Thank you to Deb Winters and her crew and the board who approved the funding to make all of this happen. This is a candle of affirmation for all the students, teachers, and parents who survived this past week of STAR testing. It's been a week of stress, tears, and encouragement. We want you all to know that you are enough and you are loved. And this is a birthday candle. Happy birthday to dear Krista. And this is another birthday candle for Jerry, whose birthday was this past week. Wishing you also a very happy birthday. And finally, I light one candle for all the joys and concerns not shared, but still felt deeply in our hearts.
The UU Religious Education Group selected the book Breathe by Imani Perry. Breathe was selected as a UUA Common Read for the year 2020-2021. Emotionally raw and deeply reflective, Perry's book challenges society to recognize Black children as deserving of humanity. She shares her fear and frustrations for her African American sons in an increasingly racist atmosphere in which white people at times seem irredeemable. However, as a mother, feminist, writer, and intellectual, Perry offers an unfettered expression of love, finding beauty and possibility in life. She exhorts her children and their peers to find the courage to chart their own paths and find grounding and inspiration in Black tradition. The New York Times calls Breathe an elixir of history, ancestry, and compassion, which together become the instruction, a parent's unflinching demand, born of inherited trauma and love for her children's right to simply be possible. This moment in time calls for a historic national reckoning with what it means to live as a Black or brown American. Since our country's founding, systems of institutional racism have been operating to control, traumatize, and oppress people of color. As our president, Reverend Susan Frederick Gray, has written, "It matters that we support the uprisings whose goal is the liberation of Black people and communities who for too long have been crushed by white supremacy, militarism, and capitalism. We must find the sources within ourselves to give us courage in this moment." The selection of Breathe as the 2020-2021 Common Read aims to nurture this necessary courage.
Today I want to talk about Breathe, a Letter to My Sons. I am so glad we did this book for RE. As a mother, so many moments touched my heart, and many more furthered my own education on the struggles that occur daily for BIPOC individuals. There were times a sentence, paragraph, or even an entire page were so deeply profound that I would have to stop reading, set the book aside, and reflect to grasp the full scope of what was written. I learned true history that has been so whitewashed and hidden that I was both disheartened and made furious, all at once. The author has an uncanny ability to draw the reader in while also being extremely vulnerable. It was almost like reading someone's personal journal. And I'm really glad that I was introduced to this book. It has helped me to see ways that I can do better and be better and help to fight to make the world better for BIPOC individuals and their children. And it just takes, if each one of us take that moment, then what might seem like a little step forward can end up being a wave of change. Thank you.
How do you become in a world bent on you not being and not becoming? As I read Breathe, I felt that Perry was offering me a glimpse into her own personal journal. She writes with a stunning and courageous voice, vulnerable in sharing not only her fears and frustrations, but also of her love as a mother of young African American sons. She shares with raw, honest longing that all Black children are deserving of humanity. And as I prepared my own reflection today, I noticed my own discomfort about potentially misinterpreting her book. But I wanted to share about two passages that revealed a gift to me as I leaned into my own discomfort. On page 71 of Breathe, Perry writes, "Here is a confession. Recently, I wondered if white people are irredeemable. Again, I have to issue a caveat for the sensitive. No, I do not mean individuals. Individuals are the precious bulwark against total desperation. In them, we find the persistence of possibility." Additionally, Perry writes, "Living defined by terror is itself destruction of the spirit, and it is submission. The truth is that life is unsafe, but joy, even in slivers, shows up everywhere. Take it and keep taking it." As I read her words, I realized that I have rarely ever felt right to find celebration or joy when surrounded by sadness and despair, or even when the world appears to be falling apart around me. In fact, my response to finding joy in unjoyful times often feels downright shameful. But in recognizing this and leaning in and allowing for my own curiosity, I began to recognize also that it is my own conditioning that says there must be a finish or a resolution before there can be celebration. And then when I step back and slow down my mind and slow down my breath, I can see that it is the persistent hum of white supremacy that perpetuates this thinking in my own self. But as Perry shared the persistence of possibility, I see that in the joy that can be found in the here and now, the joy of being persistent, even when faced with sadness and despair. And this is the gift I feel I've received in reading her book, to embrace rest and joy, as well as celebration, as the means to move towards justice courageously.
Hello. I am going to be doing a reflection on the book that we read, Breathe, A Letter to My Sons. So I hope that you enjoy it. First of all, I am happy to be back here doing a reflection. It was a really good time talking about and learning about everyone as well as myself. I can only hope that I put into words what I really want to say, so here goes. I really enjoyed this time that we had together to analyze the book and ourselves. We ended up with new and more people in our RE group, so it was really great to have a lot of friendly faces. Most of all, it was fantastic to hear about all of our successes, breakthroughs, and even struggles in understanding the meaning and intentions behind this book. It was also kind of a relief to know that I'm not the only one that had issues. I'm not the only one that went through some of these times where I'm thinking back and I'm kicking myself because I should have done it differently. It also tells me that I am realizing I'm more privileged than what I even thought. And it's based on this quote that I'm going to read to you. Eyes watch you. The world is filled with watchmen, poised for your error, meriting correction or punishment. To know, write about, and warn others that this is how white people act around people of color is absolutely heartbreaking. I have thought about that and I've reflected on it, and in my own classroom I think, am I doing that? Am I waiting for a person of color to make an issue? I know on several occasions we've had some mistakes in class, and I've really had to think about, is this an issue of me being a white person in charge and we're having an issue because it's a race issue, or am I doing my job as a teacher? And I really want to say that I'm doing my job as a teacher, but I don't know. I don't know if I was in a position and my student saw that I was in a position of authority and already knew from their own life experience that it wasn't going to go any different than what they've already known. So therefore, why try? And I'm really hoping that with this understanding, I can make a difference in my students' lives and let them know that eyes are starting to see people for who they are and not for the wrong that they may commit. This book really had me reflecting on how I treat others. Do I see a person's skin color and react based on just that? Do I take action in my classroom one way or another based on solely my prejudices? I had always thought myself as a person who didn't have issues with race and having privilege, especially since I was raised in a mixed family. But I'm now realizing after this book that I'm just scratching the surface of what I subconsciously do and have done all my life. I've learned that I need to be conscious about what I do and how I act. This book made me think more about myself and who I am and who I want to be. It's brought out more questions than answers, and truly, I look forward to answering these questions throughout my life and bettering myself for all that are involved around me. I hope that my reflection made sense and that I've kind of covered everything that I've wanted to talk about. I hope that you don't think that I'm rambling, because this is something that I feel was important, and it's really, really brought on a lot of reflection and self-reflection. Have a wonderful Sunday.
At this time in our service, the congregation makes its financial offering. If you have made a pledge or would like to make a contribution, you can simply mail it into our office, or you can make it online through our YouTube landing page or on our website, uuamarillo.org. On the home page, in the upper right-hand corner, you will find a blue donate button that will take you to a place where you can donate securely through PayPal. If you have made a financial pledge for this year, please keep up your pledge. And now we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
May the fellowship of this hour touch and move our lives until we come again together.